Two and one. And welcome to the Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast, where we believe most high net worth individuals and those who help them, they struggle with clarifying their capital gains tax deferral options. Not having a clear plan is the enemy, and using a proven tax deferral strategy such as the Deferred Sales Trust is the best way for you to exit highly appreciated cryptocurrency, business, real estate, save a failed 1031 exchange. Also, you can create and preserve more wealth or help your clients do the same. Hey, I'm your host, Brett Swarts. In each episode, I'm joined by some of the best real estate, financial, wealth, and sometimes crypto minds in the world where they share their ideas, deal stories, and inspiration. So together we can make complex tax deferral strategies simple and passive income plans achievable. We're also streaming on expertcresecrets.com as well. Both of our YouTube channels, Capital Gains Tax Solutions and Expert CRE Secrets, as well as on Facebook and Twitter. And so for those who are watching out there or listening to out there, welcome. And I want to welcome our guest. He's on a mission to help us level up our crypto IQ by providing consultations and consulting and to global citizens in the industry so they are not left behind during the next transfer of wealth and technology revolution. He's the founder and CEO of Crypto IQ Consulting, and he's out of the Washington, D.C. area, and he's also native from there. And he's been studying and educating people on how to invest in cryptocurrency markets since 2012. With a diverse background, over 20 years experience in business management, finance, and accounting, he's become he has become wealthy from a variety of crypto investments. Please welcome to the show with me, Zach Yorke. Zach, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for welcoming me to your podcast. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And for our listeners getting to know you for the first time, would you give us a little bit more about your story and your current focus?
Sure. So my story is I got into cryptocurrency about 7 years ago. I heard it through a friend of mine who brought something new to me. I've always been into finance, been into numbers. I never really got into the stock market. So this was kind of my wave in order to kind of touch something that's similar to a stock market in essence. So I got into that early on, took some investments out, took some loans, got into Bitcoin and Ethereum at a fairly early stage, and then also moved my money into some Bitcoin IRAs, which I may speak on briefly today in regards to that. And so started early into the crypto industry 7 years ago, and then always just continued to gain exposure to it. And then over the recent last year, I started my own business and quit my job to start this full time just to educate people. Because due to some of the investments I've made, I've been able to do so for myself, and also just try to help other people out to educate them on the good and the bad of the industry. And so that once people start to learn more about crypto, they'll have a good way to navigate the industry.
Fantastic. And before we dive right into that and helping us level up our crypto IQ, I do want to take one other step back. I want you to go back maybe to the earlier days when you're in high school or just kind of growing up. You know, I believe, Zach, we've all been given certain gifts in this life, and these gifts have been given to us to be a blessing and help to others. So I'm curious, what are those one or two gifts you believe you've been given, and how does that help how you help and bless people today?
Sure. I would say one of those gifts was definitely having a big heart, caring about people, supporting others. And that's kind of why I created this business in order to give back, educate people, take people out of some of their financial woes. So really caring about others and trying to just do the best for the people, humanity, and the world. And so that's always been my passion. And so that's kind of why I've created this business.
Fantastic. Love that. And by the way, you can learn more about Zach Yorke by going to crypto-iq.co. That's crypto and a -iq.co. So let's dive right into that, Zach. So what's the number one secret to leveling up your crypto IQ right now?
Sure. So the number one secret is really educating yourself on the market, understanding that Bitcoin predominantly is about a third of the cryptocurrency market. And so if you understand how Bitcoin moves and understand the market trends, that will kind of help you decide when it's good to enter the market. And so I think that's really the main key. Even though I don't personally, I do have some investments in Bitcoin. I don't fully educate people to invest in Bitcoin just because it's, long term, it's great, but it depends on what your desire is. If you're looking for short-term gains, Bitcoin may not get you that, but Bitcoin will lead you into getting to other gains and other alternative coins, which are called altcoins that you may hear of. So the main thing is really just to stay abreast of the trends of the market. The market has various different trends Currently, the Metaverse trend is very popular as Facebook has changed their name as far as Nike and um, Apple and other aspects of that nature. So trying to find the right trends in the industry is always good, but the key is really watching Bitcoin and knowing once it starts to make its move, you want to be in prep. You want to have some good coins. You don't want to be never buying at the top. I'm always buying at the bottom.
Okay. Got it. So Bitcoin's a third of the market, and you want to make sure you understand how it moves and when it moves and what to do about that, and stay abreast of that. And also clarifying, are you looking for long-term investments, which could be Bitcoin, but if you're looking for shorter term, it could be something else. Is that a fair summary so far?
Yes, exactly.
Awesome. So let's dive right into the trend of the metaverse, right, and how that maybe is changing the marketplace for crypto, right? We saw Bitcoin hit a close to an all-time high at 69,000, dropped to about 35,000, 36, and now it's working its way kind of back up. So I'm curious, these last 3 months, and it's been kind of a big drop for crypto in general, right? These last couple months. So what's been your take on what's happening right now, and how is that affecting and changing the way you're investing?
Sure. So, I mean, for my analyzation, it looks like the market tends to shift every 3 or 4 months, which is pretty much every quarter. So if you look at the market back in July was probably the last bottom, and then it ran up through November, and then now we've just hit a bottom and it's slowly running up again. So I'm kind of analyzing the market as a 3 to 4 month quarter market where we'll have some highs and then we'll kind of hit a low. So even if you try to strategize your trading in that aspect, I think that may be good. Obviously, nothing is never financial advice, but the aspect of it is those are the tools of me of learning. So I try to time when the bottom is in the market and then try to see where the growth is. Also, a lot of things in the world that are going on right now, obviously with the interest rates rising and the war with Russia and Ukraine, those things kind of make the market a little more volatile into those issues within the news become settled. And once those become settled, you can kind of see Bitcoin regain its strength and kind of move up. So I think since the interest rate information is kind of pretty much fully out there, that's already been somewhat already priced into the market, as well as it looks like tensions are slowly dying within a possible war. So those things kind of help me to kind of maybe determine when to enter and exit the market. But I've been keeping a close eye as far as the news, because those are the times when I want to watch. And now that it looks like the news is out there, maybe things are starting to move. And then, like I said, the 3 to 4 month trade, it seems to be where Bitcoin is moving. Before it used to be cycles of 3 to 4 years. Now it's looking like cycles of 3 to 4 months.
Got it. Do you think that's because of just the amount of information and how quickly people know things, or just the evolution of more people in cryptocurrency, more capital in that? What's shorting in those cycles down to 3 to 4 months versus the 3 year period?
Yeah, I believe definitely more institutional growth, as well as many new customers, just random customers from everybody, your moms and pops. So I think that kind of is doing a lot of it as well, and then also some of the additional trading mechanisms that they have within the stock market and the various different ETFs and things of that nature that they work towards, which sometimes kind of does some things to the price around each month. And so I think some of that is all aspect of growth and an aspect of kind of how the current market is engulfed into crypto. And so
okay. Yep. That's good. That helps. Thank you. So let's talk about the metaverse now, right? And like real estate, that's a lot of our listeners are heavy into real estate, investing, 1031 exchanges, deferred sales trust, opportunity zones, different ways to defer capital gains tax and invest. And now crypto has been out there, right? And it's kind of been like, is it, especially for real estate people, should I get into it? I should get a little bit into it. I think it's becoming more and more applicable. Now you add the metaverse where you can buy like basically real estate pieces inside of the metaverse, right? So talk a little bit about just the practical application of how you see the metaverse being, and then also applying that to cryptocurrency and how that's going to help that also rise.
Sure. And would that be in relation to real estate or just in general?
Just kind of in general, like the correlation. I feel like the metaverse is kind of a hybrid between the real estate world, real world, and then the cryptocurrency world, right? And just that whole thing. So I'm still trying to wrap my mind around how this all correlates. So I'm curious if you had an opinion on that, one way or the other.
Sure. Yeah, I think the metaverse industry is just at its infancy. And so a lot of companies are going to indulge in it. They already have put millions and millions of dollars into it. So I feel that it can only grow. There'll be so many different layers of the metaverse. And so that's where it'll get a little convoluted of, this company has this and this company has that. But I think in essence, it creates an identity for people, especially once you incorporate NFTs and things of those natures that mix into the metaverse, that give people utility and give people the ability to like earn things and things of that nature. But yeah, I think it's here to stay. I mean, I was just seeing an article recently where McDonald's is, creating actual McDonald's stores within the metaverse, and you can actually order and get your food, through there. So, I mean, I think that a lot of companies, even Walmart and things of those natures are entering the metaverse. They have a video out. I can check on YouTube about a sample of how they anticipate the metaverse to be. So everyone has their own idea of what the metaverse will be. And I think that will generate a lot of new users and new people. And so I think it's intriguing to me.
Yeah.
I'm invested in it.
Yeah, now let's shift to capital gains tax, right? So one of the biggest challenges we find is people want to sell high and buy low, especially cryptocurrency, right? They bought a coin and it went from 100,000 to $2 million in a 3-month period. And they're like, oh my gosh. But then it crashes down to $600,000 another 3-month period. And they're like, oh man, I lost it all. And they feel trapped by this capital gains tax because if they sold high, which when they want to, they're going to get hammered with, 30 to 40% is going to be wiped out. And so there's this weird, not weird, it's a real thing where they do not want to sell. I mean, they want to sell, but they don't want to get hit with the tax. And so what's been the biggest frustration that you've seen when it comes to wanting to exit, but having to pay that tax?
That's an excellent question. I've had that dilemma several times. And so I would say, in essence, like I said, my opinion through some investments that I've had, it may not be worth waiting for between short-term and long-term capital gains tax, depending on how much profit you've made, or at least it's always worth taking some profits. But obviously, if you wait 366 days, which in essence is considered long-term capital gains, then you'll obviously be taxed less than short-term capital gains, which is in that first 365 days. But in my opinion, I've had some coins that have ran up and made a lot, and sometimes I had that dilemma: do I want to take out now, or I can receive a lot of this profit? But I know I'll be taxed maybe 15 to 20% higher, or do I wait? But I don't know what that coin will be in a year. So that's the dilemma that you will face. But I think it depends on how large your profit margins are and how much you're willing to take a tax hit, depending on the difference between long-term and short-term.
Yeah, and so Zach, I had a client. They bought Ethereum and some Bitcoin, but mostly Ethereum, and a couple out of the East Bay area. He's working in the tech industry, 60-hour weeks. She's an attorney, 2 kids. She's working 60-hour weeks, and they make a good salary, good income. But he really is a believer in cryptocurrency, and especially Ethereum at an early adoption rate. So he starts putting like $2,000 a month in, and just keeps kind of putting it in the very early stages. Well, his $100,000 or so investment over about a year or so, year and a half, goes up to about $9 million. Okay. Or $6 million at first in 2017, and then it crashed, and then it went up to $12 and $13 million this year. And they never exited because of the tax, but they rode these waves of huge gains and then crashes and huge gains and crashes. And then they finally exited about $7.5 million of that, all tax deferred into our Deferred Sales Trust. And they did this about the $3,000 mark, which is pretty cool. And they diversified, they got cash flow. And part of that was, his wife could sleep well at night. She's like, hey, we're done. We can retire. We don't have to work anymore. This means if we can put this up into something very conservative, cash flow. And he's like, yeah, but I also want the upside. So it's kind of a hybrid. They could exit some, not all of it. But for him, it was, in her too, we don't want to pay the tax right away. And so it became a solution from escaping feeling trapped by the capital gains tax. So I'm curious, had you heard of the Deferred Sales Trust before, or what other creative strategies are people doing besides staking, right? Which they just hold the money and of course can just get interest off that and kind of like refinance, if you will. Anything else that people are doing when they exit that you're aware of?
There are people that are actually, I guess, borrowing against their crypto, which is an aspect within the DeFi world where you can, in essence, borrow against that Ethereum, and then use that money to, in essence, reinvest and things of that nature. But in essence, it kind of, locks in your value and locks in on based on a yearly or however aspect you may have to lock in. But usually that's what I'm hearing some people are doing is more as staking is obviously more of a lending aspect, but there are some platforms within the DeFi space that offer more of a borrowing aspect where technically borrowing is not a sale. So you're in essence, you're able to, use that money against it and reinvest that way. I know there's other ways in regards to, charity, trust, and things of that nature, charity contributions and things of that nature. I mean, I haven't gone into heavy details, ways to try to save on the tax end after I've taken out, in essence, because I like to leave a lot of my money in the crypto space. So technically, that's typically how I like to do it.
Yeah, yeah. And so for ours, we think it's pretty cool because without having to give it away to charity, without having to stake it, without having to worry about margin calls, right? Being able to diversify your wealth in different avenues, you can defer the capital gains tax. But better than that, you can sell high and buy low by partnering with the trust back into real estate or other cryptocurrency. And that's like that whole dynamic when you go like, I know it's the best time to sell because what you do, if I'm hearing you right, is like you helping to coach people to help to understand the market and to time the market in a way that's going to make them wealthy and lower their risk. And so having something where you can, on your certainty of conviction, like this is the high or this is the low, but not having to suffer the tax consequence, having that time on your side to negotiate, or in other words, buy when you want to and sell when you want to me, that's powerful, right? That's with the deferred sales trust. So anyone who wants to learn about that, you can go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. That's capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. That being said, Zach, we're running out of time. You ready for the lightning round?
Sure.
All right. So knowing what you know now, if you can go back to your 25-year-old self, what's the one golden nugget and make sure to tell yourself to do?
The one good nugget I make sure to tell myself to do would be, let's see, that's a good question. I would say just continue to maybe should have went maybe to New York to try with the stock market and things of that nature. When I graduated, and I was about 25 or so, 9/11 had hit, so it kind of messed up a lot of financial majors in regards to entering the Wall Street area. But I should have maybe just still took a chance and moved to New York and tried that. So, but I'm here now, and this is kind of where my arena is. But that was one of my always regrets, possibly.
All right. I like that. I just went to my wife and I spent some time in New York in October, and it was like, man, this is a cool spot. When the weather's, feeling good, by the way, but,
Right.
yeah, like anything right on the East Coast, but, California, we're spoiled out here. Okay. Enough of that. Second question. What's the number one book you've recommended or gifted the most in the past year?
Number one book I recommend or gifted. So that's a tough question for me because I'm really more of a dig and diver as far as YouTuber analysis.
It could be a podcast, it could be a YouTube channel, it could be it doesn't have to be a book.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I would say the number one YouTube and podcast channel I like to talk about is a show called Crypto Banter, in regards to educating yourself on the move of the market. And so a lot of times in the crypto space, it takes a lot of your emotion. And so having a YouTube guys like they have on their show kind of gives you good guidance to kind of feel you have a support team. So
that's cool. I like that. Crypto Banter. All right, right on. Third question. What are you most curious about right now?
I'm most curious about the way of the world in this year, see where things go as far as the market. There was a lot of money that was poured out to people in regards to paid out in regards to the federal how basically how things went federally in regards to the world last couple of years due to COVID and things of that nature. And so now that they're raising the interest rates and things are starting to tighten up a little, I'm interested to see the market and how it recovers from somewhat of, I think, an inflated stock market to things of that nature. So looking to see involved with that and just the evolution of crypto to how far I can get, because it's taken over to me the last, especially as COVID has gotten, it seems like it's expedited the growth. So.
Yeah, me too. Those are all excellent points. Last question. After all your success, Zach, helping the people you've helped, build wealth with crypto and, cryptoiq.co and everything else, how do you stay centered in your values, and how do you stay encouraged to charge forward to reach new heights?
Sure. I think it's just really focusing on goals every day and every week and staying committed to them. And then also just making sure you challenge yourself and don't get ever comfortable. And that's what can happen a lot in this crypto space. You'll make a lot of money and feel very comfortable. But if you don't take action, you may lose those gains. And so sometimes that's a dilemma of, like we talked about before, of taxes, things of that nature. But sometimes the best thing to do is take your profits. And so those are the things that I try to keep comfortable and know when to make the right decisions.
I like it. No one to hold them, no one to fold them, maybe no one to pay the taxes, maybe no one to defer the taxes, right? So I appreciate you, Zach, for being on the show. Sure. And I want to encourage you to keep using your gifts of caring for people, right? And coaching people, right? Helping them out with their investments in cryptocurrency. And for the listeners who want to get in touch with you, would you remind them one last time what's the best place for them to find you?
Sure. You can find me at www.crypto-iq.co. And then my email address is just have it under support, SUPPORT, at crypto-iq.co.
Amazing. Thanks, Zach, for being on the show. And I also want to thank our listeners for listening to the episode of the Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast, also stream on Expert CRE Secrets podcast, is where we believe most high net worth individuals and those who help them, they struggle with clarifying their capital gains tax deferral options. Not having a clear plan is the enemy, and using a proven tax deferral strategy to defer millions of dollars of capital gains tax on the sale of cryptocurrency, NFTs, Bitcoin, anything that's a primary residence, a property, real estate property, commercial property, business, is the best way for you to not have to feel trapped, right? And you can exit well, defer tax, can create and preserve more wealth. If you want to learn more, you go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. We also are coming out with our brand new book, Building a Tax Deferred Exit Strategy. And it's the proven playbook for unlocking your ideal wealth plan when selling assets of any kind for yourself or your clients. I want you to look for this in about 30 days. We have some cool people like Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank. He's in here, and another of other really, really smart people. I got a couple of chapters as well. And look for that at Capital Gains Tax Solutions and Amazon and all these other places. And the last thing is I want to invite everyone to our Crypto Deferred Sales Trust Mastermind. We're trying to break down all things cryptocurrency and how to exit well using the Deferred Sales Trust and to diversify your investments. And so that is free for everyone to join. And it has clients on there, CPAs, DST skeptics, people learning about it for their first time, DST pros. And so you can go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com every Friday at 10 a.m. PST, 1 p.m. Eastern time. I want to thank you for watching the show, listening. Please rate, review, subscribe.